Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Soul Land 3 Legend of the Dragon King Part 51 based on novel. So let's start. Let's do our best, guys. Tang Wulin was the first to reach out a hand. Gu placed her hand on top of his, before quickly grabbing Xu Xiaoyon's hand so that it rested on hers. Although he was an agility-type soul master, Xie's reaction lagged behind the rest and he was the last to join in. He glared daggers at Gu. Just how much do you loathe me? Gu thought it over for a moment, then flashed a smile. About as much as one would loathe a housefly. You? Sun with rays. Night crept by without a peep. Once the rays of the sun pierced through the horizon, Wu Zhongkong and the 4 students departed from the academy. Their destination, East Sea Square located at the city's center. Tang Wulin and the others wore East Sea Academy's uniform. This time, Director Long Henshu joined the children and Wu Zhongkong. There was another team representing the academy apart from Tang Wulin's group, though they were from the advanced division. The latter team would be participating in the 15 to 20 youths division. Tang Wulin spotted a couple of familiar faces among the crowd. The first was Xu Xiaoyon's older brother, Xu Xiaoyu. To his surprise, the other one was the beautiful senior sister he met during his first days at East Sea Academy, Liu Yuxin. It was clear that Liu Yuxin hadn't spared him a thought. Instead, her gaze was glued on the face of a man with fluttering white robes, never letting him out of her sight. Her eyes were practically in the shape of hearts. Xiaoyon, let me know if they try to bully you. Walking past the 4 students of Class 0, Xu Xiaoyu showcased a display of force. Xu Xiaoyon rolled her eyes at him. Just worry about yourself. At least make it through the preliminaries this time. At such a statement, Xu Xiaoyu's expression stiffened. Of course. Everyone on our team has at least 3 rings this time. We'll definitely achieve a good result. They were participating in the team competitions as well. This was not just any team event. It was the most illustrious one, the 7-man team competition. The corner of Xu Xiaoyon's mouth twitched. From the conversation between the 2 siblings, Tang Wulin could infer at least that East Sea Academy held some hope of glory at the tournament. In fact, their chances of attaining victory were pretty high. As East Sea City was ranked number 2 among all the cities in the East Coast, achieving glory and maintaining their status was a crucial goal and a touchy subject. In truth, Tang Wulin's guess hit the nail right on the head. While East Sea Academy was East Sea City's only intermediate Soul Master Academy, its students were not particularly outstanding. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament was so large that it required not just the 5 first-class cities on the East Coast to host it but had even summoned the aid of some second- and third-class cities. East Sea City had produced dismal results for a first-class city in the previous tournaments. Both the academy and the city's government lost much face. It was no wonder that Long Henshu's proposal to create a Class 0 for their newly found geniuses was approved so quickly. If things continued on like this, then East Sea City's prestige would definitely suffer. The city's bustling economy might also be adversely affected, plummeting the markets. The academy was placing their bets on a group of 10-year-old children this time, hoping that they would showcase the city's potential at the Sky Sea Alliance tournament while also gaining the support of the city's government. After all, they were only 10 years old. Their future was limitless. Crowds of people and luxurious soul buses assembled at East Sea Square to set off together. Hey, why are you so late? Mushi jogged over to Tang Wulin and grabbed him by the ear. What are you doing? Before Tang Wulin could speak up, Gu swatted away Mushi's hand and stood protectively in front of him. Stunned, Mushi stared at Gu in a daze before bursting out in laughter. Not bad. Tang Wulin, you've already become a deviant at such a young age. Who is your little girlfriend? No. Senior disciple sister, don't say such nonsense. Mushi's voice had been particularly loud, attracting the attention of those around them like bees to honey. With the proverbial spotlight shining on him, Tang Wulin flushed as red as a tomato in embarrassment. His handsome looks, coupled with his rosy-red, abashed face tempted Mushi to pinch his cheeks. Wow. You're bringing so many people with you. Ignoring Gu, Mushi asked Tang Wulin. Tang Wulin said, we're participating in the Junior Division Soul Masters Team competition. The Soul Masters Team competition? You guys? She did not try to hide her disdain at all. What about us? Xie said indignantly. Mushi sneered. It's nothing much. Just that we're also entering the Junior Division of the Soul Masters Team competition. Do you guys still think you have a chance? As she spoke, 3 soul rings appeared from beneath her feet. Yellow, yellow, purple. She was a 3-ringed soul elder. Mushi was currently a 5th year in her 2nd semester, so she was 4 years older than Tang Wulin. At 14 years old, she just barely qualified for that division's age limit. Mushi said, we'll also be entering as a 3-man team. Our goal is the top 8. There are currently 36 East Coast cities competing in this tournament with over 100 participants, and the first 2 rounds are knockout competitions. Can you guys even pass the first round? At their age, every single year signified a great gap in strength. Tang Wulin went silent. Even though they had beat Xu Xiaoyu once before, they had to admit it was due to Xu Xiaoyu's carelessness and their strength in numbers. Yet in this coming tournament, they would be facing the most powerful of their peers. There would even be those that were older than them. Against such formidable opponents, just what kind of hopes did they have? All right, don't be discouraged. I'll treat you guys to a meal after the first round. Mushi rubbed Wulin's head, then whispered into his ear, you might not have a chance at the Soul Masters tournament, but you can definitely rank high in the Blacksmith 1. I'll be cheering for you when the time comes. Go become the champion. Since the time Tang Wulin had agreed to give up first place for her, the thorns in their relationship had blunted. Tang Wulin nodded helplessly. She really knew how to surprise people. The square was in chaos as the representatives of every association participating in the tournament organized themselves. There were even representatives from other academies. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament had numerous events, including mecha and battle armor competitions. Like how East Sea City held an embarrassing position in the Alliance, the Sky Sea Alliance were ashamed of their rank in comparison to the rest of the continent. Although their economic status was unrivaled, whether it were battle armor masters, mecha pilots, mecha technology, or the quantity and quality of soul masters, they ranked near the bottom in all of these elements. The cities that dominated these categories were the Sun Moon City and Heaven Do City. As for Shrek City, it could neither be evaluated by the Federation properly nor be put on the same scale as the others. Basically, Shrek City exceeded their comprehension. The teachers and students of East Sea Academy, board your bus now. Hearing this, the teachers began leading the students onto the 6th bus. Without a single break in her stride, Gu sauntered forward and kicked Xie out of the way, plopping down on the seat beside Tang Wulin. Xie could only settle for the next best thing and sat next to Xu Xiaoyan. Unfortunately for him, however, Xu Xiaoyu picked him up and stole the seat beside his sister. Xie was annoyed, but he could do nothing against the much stronger Xu Xiaoyu. He resigned himself to sit beside Wu Zhongkong. After descending into his seat, he felt countless eyes stabbing his body as the surrounding women glared as though they wanted to rip him to shreds. I don't want to sit here either. Xie immediately stood up to find another seat. Don't stand up if you know what's good for you. Wu Zhongkong's cold voice sounded. Xie didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Is this counted as provoking whoever I meet? The Xu siblings sat right behind Tang Wulin and Gu. As he stared at Gu, a scowl materialized on Xu Xiaoyu's face. After facing defeat at the hands of Gu, indignation and depression had filled his heart. As time progressed though, Gu appearing in his dreams more and more frequently. Every once in a while, Gu's face would pop up in his conscious mind. She is so young, yet possesses such power and an amazing martial soul. Just how formidable will she be once she matures? This girl piqued his curiosity, as well as some of his other sentiments. Xu Xiaoyu was easily considered an outstanding elite in the advanced division, but that was just within the walls of the weak East Sea Academy. He would be entering an advanced academy in a year, walking on his chosen path in life. Despite aspiring to be a battle armor master, he struggled with the fact that this was an exceedingly difficult occupation. In particular, the process of making battle armor required more than just money. Not only would he have to pour his all into cultivation, he would also need to divert his time and energy into battle armor research. He was already 17 years old, though his potential was not lacking. It was unknown whether he had it in him to realize such a goal. If he could not obtain a suit of battle armor for himself, then he would just have to settle with becoming a mecha pilot. There was a reason battle armor masters were recognized as the strongest. The path to becoming one was difficult and few ever succeeded. The chances of failing were simply astronomical. In order to craft a battle armor successfully, one needed to accomplish multiple steps: refine rare metals, forge them, create a design, craft it, and then maintain the final product. The troubles of obtaining and owning battle armor were tenfold to that of mechas. To obtain a suitable mecha, one only needed to hire a capable mecha designer and craftsman. But regarding battle armor, this process was much more convoluted. One needed to be personally involved in the creation of one's battle armor. This was to determine the most suitable path such that the armor becomes an extension of one's body. Such a feat was not something just anyone could accomplish. It was a taxing road. Hardly any battle armor masters could create a complete set of battle armor even after 10 whole years of painstaking work. Even if they did somehow finish a set by then, they might find that their growth during the years of forging rendered their final product obsolete. Once again, one would have to start anew. The act of creating battle armor truly was a form of torment. If too much time was spent on developing the battle armor, then one's cultivation may fall behind. When that happens, they would become even weaker than a mecha pilot. However, mechas were also tremendously powerful and their gigantic bulk gave them many options. For these reasons, Xu Xiaoyu decided on specializing in mecha control. He would walk down the path of becoming a mecha pilot when he entered an advanced academy. I might not have much hope of becoming a battle armor master, but I wonder if she can pull it off. She already has 2 rings at 10 years old and will definitely hit 3 rings by the time she turns 15. I can't even compare to her in terms of potential. He did not feel any jealousy toward Gu. In fact, he was confused by his own turbulent sentiments. Tang Wulin leaned against the window, resting with his eyes shut as he attempted to calm his muddled heart. Mu Shi's words still lingered within his mind. He had witnessed her strength before when she wielded only 2 rings, but now, she already possessed 3. Yet with her strength, she only aimed for the top 8 position. They are so strong, but what about Class 0? I'm the sole one-ringed contender among our main force. Although our teamwork is great and I'm confident in my strength, there is still a significant difference in cultivation between our teams. That's a gap we can't bridge quickly enough. The ones who rank the best will receive a reward. Like Tang Wulin, Gu was also resting quietly with her eyes closed. A tense atmosphere permeated the bus as some occupants sent hushed whispers to one another. Other more courageous students chatted loudly. Like this, the bus slowly shrank into the distance, leaving the square behind and gradually speeding out of East Sea City. Those in the bus showed glimmers of optimism as soon as they left the city bounds, entering the highway and accelerating onward. The Seoul Highway utilized a combination of maglev and Seoul technology, allowing the bus to safely maintain high speeds up to half of Seoul trains. For shorter distances, the bus was more suitable than the train. As Tang Wulin's eyes slowly opened, he took the time to observe the breathtaking landscape flitting by. On the east was the ocean. Since the highway was built right on the shore, the azure sea stretched out infinitely beside him, unburdening his heart and relaxing his spirit. Tang Wulin could not help but recall the times he visited the beach with Enea to enjoy the scenery together. Back then, he had pulled her by the hand to gaze at the sea, watch the sunrise, and collect seashells. If luck smiled down on them, they would also catch some large crabs to bake and eat. Enea? Tang Wulin softly called out. HM? Wulin, Gu turned to him in surprise. Turning toward her voice, he was met with her astonished expression. He gave a half-hearted smile and shook his head. I'm fine. Just thinking about my little sister. I don't know how she's doing right now or whether she's happy. I bet if she knew I've become a soul master, she would be really happy for me. Guu nodded, a slight smile tugging at her lips. Of course she would. Would you like some water? She brought out a bottle from her backpack. Huh? Okay. Thank you. Tang Wulin twisted open the bottle's cap and took a few gulps of water. The water was pure and tepid, relieving both his throat and heart. After Guu retrieved the bottle from him, she took a few drinks herself, paying no mind that he had just drunk from it. Tang Wulin stared at her, flabbergasted. The light shining through the window met with her cheek, giving the illusion of sparkling purity. She's actually so pretty. Guu tilted her head and beamed an oblivious smile at him. What's with you? Tang Wulin pulled the curtains quickly over the window, shrouding the entire space with shade. It's too bright right now. That's bad for your eyes. Guu placed the bottle back into his hands, then leaned her head against his shoulder. I'm sleepy. Let me lean on you, okay? Tang Wulin did not know what to do. You're already leaning on me. How am I supposed to reject you? It seemed she really was sleepy, for her breathing soon steadied as a relaxed smile appeared on her lips. It was as if to her, leaning on him was particularly comforting. After sucking it up as Guu's personal pillow, Tang Wulin started to feel the lull of slumber. Even though he had already shut the curtains, the warmth and coziness did not dissipate. Unwittingly, he closed his eyes. Immediately, his fatigue from constantly cultivating washed away. Totaling about 4 hours in travel time, the trek from East Sea City to Sky Sea City was a prolonged one. Tang Wulin slept through the whole trip and would have likely continued sleeping once they arrived had Xie not called for him. You two sure are enjoying sleeping, You've slept the whole trip? Xie slyly shot his gaze from Tang Wulin to the waking Guu. Guu stood up to stretch her body before turning back to pinch Tang Wulin's shoulder. Is it numb? Tang Wulin shook his head. It's fine. That was a really nice nap. I don't think I've ever slept that well in my whole life. Circulating some soul power within his body, he noticed that it seemed to have sped up while flowing more smoothly than ever. This change signified a breakthrough. He had finally broken through to rank 17. A strange expression stretched across his face. He had been struggling to break through the bottleneck to rank 17 these past few days, but never had he expected to wake up in success. While his foundation was mediocre, he had progressed from rank 11 to rank 17 in the past year. Such speed was simply astonishing. As if only natural, Guu chose to lead them to exit while Tang Wulin and Xie trailed behind her. For no apparent reason, warmth filled his heart as he took in her figure. Partner? Little sister? He did not know why, but Guu's kindness reminded him of Enea. Sky Sea City and East Sea City were similar in that they both were situated on the coast, boasting a beautiful landscape and the continent's largest harbors and docks. The Federation's navy was stationed right outside of Sky Sea City. The silhouette of a gigantic cruiser anchored out at sea entered the eyes of some. Because of the great military forces stationed there, Sky Sea City was considered the top-ranked city on the East Coast. The area was of utmost strategic importance, comparable to major cities inland. Ordinary people would enter military service once they turned 18, and for those within Sky Sea Alliance's domain, Sky Sea City's navy was the first pick. Tang Wulin still had many years before he turned 18. As a Soul Master, he had some level of influence over his military service. This, of course, did not take into account his status as a fourth-rank blacksmith. Fourth-rank blacksmiths were considered members of the elite, enjoying a lofty position. For now, Tang Wulin could not see much of a difference between Sky Sea City and East Sea City. As they approached the city's core, skyscrapers piercing the clouds came into view, passed by the magnificent harbor. Several types of advanced equipment and facilities lined the harbor, all of which Tang Wulin struggled to name. The harbor smelled of trade. Sky Sea City was situated in an area surrounded by much more mountains than East Sea City, and many buildings were built into the slopes, adding to their high-low appearance. Some skyscrapers even seemed to pierce right through the clouds. The official delegation from East Sea City had already been in contact with the representatives from Sky Sea City. The 4 students of Class 0 were the youngest amongst the competitors from East Sea City and naturally weren't too attentive to their surroundings, simply following the group. They were led to a luxurious hotel that was rather special. Half of it was within the ocean, and each room had a breathtaking view that truly emphasized to all the guests that they were by the ocean. Tang Wulin and Xie Xie shared a room while Ji Yu and Xu Xiaoyan were placed in another room. Tomorrow was the opening ceremony of the tournament and lots to decide the matches would be drawn. Wu Zhongkong had given the bare minimum explanation which had lacked any sort of warnings or advice. The doorbell rang. Tang Wulin quickly opened the door, revealing the charming Mu Shi. "Come with me." Mu Shi grabbed his hand and dragged him out. Tang Wulin just barely managed to look back and shout, "Xie Xie, I'm going out with my senior disciple sister first. I'll be back later." "Go, just go already." Xie Xie was already laying on his bed resting with his eyes closed. He hadn't had a moment of reprieve from Wu Zhangkong's glacial aura and the glares of the surrounding women during the entire trip whilst sitting next to his teacher. Now that he was free from that tormenting environment, fatigue drained his energy while sleep overwhelmed his consciousness. "Senior disciple sister, slow down. Just what are we doing?" Tang Wulin pleaded. "We have a meeting." Mu Shi's short reply left no room for debate. She turned a corner and, seeing that there weren't many people around, Mu Shi quickly pinched Tang Wulin's delicate cheeks. "Senior disciple sister." Tang Wulin waved his arms in protest. "Pinching you means that I respect you. Your cheeks are nice to pinch." "Okay, we're here." Mu Shi pushed Tang Wulin into a room as she spoke. Over a dozen people were present in the room, each wearing the familiar badge of a blacksmith. The leader of the delegation from the Blacksmiths Association was someone Tang Wulin knew, Center Yu. Aside from Center Yu, the others were unfamiliar faces that ranged from their late teens to their early 20s. Center Yu's stern expression transformed into a beaming smile the moment Tang Wulin and Mu Shi walked in. "You're here, Wulin? Come, I'll introduce you to the other outstanding blacksmiths of your generation." There were a couple people that stood out to Tang Wulin, a youth around 18 years old named Zheng Qianlin and a young man a little over 20 named Tang Wenhao. They both had their own peculiarities. Zheng Qianlin had a pair of extraordinarily long arms that reached just past his knees and wore a third-rank blacksmith badge, while Tang Wenhao wore a fourth-rank badge. They were the most skilled individuals in the room after Center Yu. Although Mu Shi was extremely talented, she was still only a second-rank blacksmith. Mu Chen's strict attitude toward her had meant that he refused to pass her as a third-rank blacksmith until her 1,000 refinements stabilized. "Now that everyone is present, I'll begin. I believe you're all aware that although East Sea City hasn't achieved any exemplary results in the Sky Sea Alliance tournaments of late, our East Sea Blacksmiths Association is an exception to that. We managed to attain third place in the junior division, and first in the youth division last year. Wenhao, do your best this time to bring us glory in the adult division." Tang Wenhao had an average appearance and a sturdy body. A calm light twinkled in his eyes as he said, "Yes, teacher." It was only then that Tang Wulin realized Tang Wenhao was Center Yu's direct disciple. A satisfied smile formed on Center Yu's lips. "You will definitely receive excellent results as long as you perform your usual best." Center Yu then turned to Zheng Qianlin. "Qianlin, you've made a lot of progress in these last 2 years and have stabilized your foundation. If you're able to forge at your personal best, then you should do well too. I hope you'll break through soon and reach 4th rank." "Yes, Master Center." Zheng Qianlin nodded, but not only was his attitude disrespectful, it was filled with disdain and arrogance. Finally, Center Yu turned to Tang Wulin and Mu Shi. "Last of all are the two of you. If you were to ask me who I was most confident in with regards to the adult, youth, and juvenile division, I would definitely have said it would be you two brats. I don't think I need to give either of you any advice. Just perform as you always do and you'll surely bring back the title of champion." I'll be waiting to celebrate. Everyone in the room eyed the two at these words. They could accept it if it had only been directed to Mu Shi, but Tang Wulin was an unknown face. The matter of Tang Wulin becoming President Mu Chen's disciple had been kept confidential, and the only ones who knew this were Mu Chen himself, Senta Yu, and Mu Shi. It was for this reason that none of the other blacksmiths recognized him. Tang Wenhao was shocked that his teacher had praised this newcomer. He glanced at Tang Wulin and gave him a nod of acknowledgement. Tang Wulin hastily reciprocated. Zheng Qianlin smiled. Junior sister Mu Shi is quickly approaching third rank, so the junior division should be no problem for her. The champion's prize is almost already hers. Mu Shi would have accepted such praise before having met Tang Wulin, since she truly was one of the greatest of her generation. Now, however, a little monster stood beside her. How could she accept such praise, knowing full well the gap between her and Tang Wulin? He was already a fourth-rank blacksmith despite being 4 years younger than her. Don't say such nonsense. There's no way I can become the champion, Mu Shi quickly said. Zheng Qianlin thought she was being modest and laughed. How could you not? Being able to reach the second rank is already amazing for your age, not to mention approaching third rank. He hadn't even thought of acknowledging Tang Wulin since the beginning. Although Tang Wulin was taller than his peers, at most, he could only be considered a 13-year-old child. Apart from Tang Wenhao, who noted Senta Yu's expectant gaze towards Tang Wulin, everyone else held the same assumptions as Zheng Qianlin. They thought Tang Wulin was merely present to create a contrast for Mu Shi's brilliance. Tang Wulin didn't mind this assessment at all. In fact, he wasn't concerned at all. Mang Tian had repeatedly warned him to stay low-key within the Blacksmith Association, as it was only then would he be able to progress further. He trusted Mang Tian's advice, and Mu Chen's lectures had only served to further reinforce this idea. It was for this reason that he truly intended to give Mu Shi the championship in this competition. He would be rewarded with both the second and first place prizes anyway. What reason did he have to decline? Senta Yu didn't try to allay their assumptions, since his primary goal was Tang Wulin's safety. Mu Chen had explained to Tang Wulin before their departure that if it wasn't for his insane improvement speed and connection with the world of blacksmiths, Mu Chen would not have let him compete. What Tang Wulin wasn't aware of was that there was a limited number of spots for participating in high-level competitions, and having reached 4th rank, Tang Wulin qualified for them. Senta Yu said, "Now I'll explain how the competition will be run this time. Let's start with the junior division. You can leave after hearing the information relevant to you." He still prioritized Tang Wulin in the end. Of course, in the eyes of the other blacksmiths, it was simply Senta Yu showing consideration for Mu Shi. The 3 divisions aren't that different, it's just that the junior division focuses on blacksmithing fundamentals. The first round disqualifies contestants who cannot 100 refine. No one knows what metal you will be asked to forge. The top 64 participants from the first round will then compete in the second round, where you freely display your ability with the same metal from before. You will be awarded points based on the grade of the final product. As for the third round, you will be shaping the metal you forged in the second round. That's it. There are only 3 rounds. To secure a good position, however, you will need to surprise everyone. When that time comes, just do your best and you should be fine. The association will grant you an additional award if you place within the top 8, and an amazing award if it's the top 3. You'll even have the opportunity to participate in other blacksmithing competitions. I hope you'll keep this in mind and do your best, because the spots for other competitions isn't up to me. If you place in the top 3, the medal awarded will be your ticket into the upper levels of the world of blacksmithing, understand? Yes. Tang Wulin, Mu Shi, and a few other youngsters said respectfully. In the sea of green that was this group of blacksmiths, Mu Shi stood out brightly as a speck of red, the only woman among them. After listening to Senta Yu's warnings, Tang Wulin and Mu Shi set off. Good luck, junior disciple brother. Mu Shi rubbed Tang Wulin's head and pinched his cheeks before releasing him. Helpless to the pinching, Tang Wulin began to miss her frigid disposition. At least back then, his cheeks were spared. He could feel the shift in atmosphere at their hotel as the start of the tournament drew near. Nearly all of the hotel's patrons were here for the event. Besides participants from East Sea City, there were also numerous people from other places, all preparing hastily. When he returned to his room, Tang Wulin was greeted by Xie's tremendous snoring, the culprit already sound asleep. Starfished on the bed, he barely resembled a human. Tang Wulin descended on his own mattress. Instead of pulling at the coattails of slumber, he sat cross-legged and peered out the window. His gaze wandered past the sharp edges of the deep blue sea, zigzagging across the surface to no end. The rush and ebb of the tide granted him a peace of mind. He shut his eyes slowly and began meditating. Just as the clumsy bird flies early to the forest, he could not squander any opportunity to cultivate. Blacksmithing, on the other hand, was not a problem. As Center Yu had informed him, finding anyone who could surpass his craft at his age was like searching for a needle in a haystack. Although he would be advancing through the competition with Mu Shi, Tang Wulin understood that when the final rounds approached he would need to carefully make a decision. If Mu Shi seemed to have a shot at becoming the champion, then he would yield the spot to her. However, in the event that Mu Shi could not proceed, he would remove his handicap, aiming for victory instead. As for the Soul Masters competition, he could not shake off his nervousness. Despite being considered pretty formidable among his peers, he would be facing Soul Masters several years older than him in the Sky Sea Alliance tournament. The difference in cultivation from a single year was tremendous. He could only imagine what a gap of 5 years would be like. While wielding 3 rings, Mu Shi only hoped to place in the top 8. He possessed 1 ring and his teammates held 2 at most. Just how far could he hope to go? At the very least, we can't lose in the knockout phase. That would be too depressing for both us and Teacher Wu. I've got to do my best. Struggle to the very end. Tang Wulin dispelled such distracting thoughts. Regardless of what happens, I'll persevere. The opening ceremony of the Sky Sea Alliance tournament was held in Sky Sea Stadium. It was the largest stadium in the Sky Sea Alliance, boasting a maximum seating capacity of 80,000 people. For the economic bloc that was East Sea Alliance, the Sky Sea Alliance tournament was a grand occasion that the entire Federation paid attention to. Outstanding geniuses would emerge each time the tournament was held. In reality, the Sky Sea Alliance tournament's original goal was to filter through the masses for geniuses to raise. Then they would be groomed into pillars of the Alliance. Within the Federation existed a myriad of factions, with the Sky Sea Alliance being one of the greater ones. Economic-wise, though, it stood as one of the Federation's major players. In spite of its economic power, the Sky Sea Alliance was not satisfied. Although it was easy to jumpstart the economy, building a sturdy foundation was a different story. Not to mention, they had started developing later than other regions. The continent's mainland was filled with major cities, each possessing thousands to tens of thousands of years of history. These cities were littered with countless ancient clans that raised powerful geniuses with profound backgrounds. Due to its difference in history, the Sky Sea Alliance was woefully deficient in talents. In fact, the quality and quantity of its geniuses were beginning to decline. All of the powerful experts were found inland. Only able to boast of its economic might, the Sky Sea Alliance could not be considered powerful by any means and hovered around the continent's middle levels of prominence. But how could the Sky Sea Alliance resign itself to lose in power and prestige? In a bid to select and grow talents, the Alliance established the Sky Sea Alliance tournament roughly 200 years ago. They offered not only a generous amount of prize money but some unique prizes as well. This way, the talents would receive the support needed to further pursue their paths, which would bolster the Alliance's strength. At the crack of dawn, representatives from the various cities flooded into the stadium. The arena was gigantic, hordes of people teeming within as far as the eye could see. The terrace had long since been filled with spectators. It was Tang Wulin's first time in such a grand stadium. Excitement permeated the air as the opening ceremony proceeded. Surrounded by so many taller people, Tang Wulin could hardly see what was happening. He could only hear a few encouraging words that marked the end of the ceremony. Next came the drawing of lots for the various competitions. This matter was handled by the teachers, leaving Class 0 twiddling their thumbs. The stadium erupted with joy as a platform was rapidly built in the center. What are they doing? Tang Wulin asked Xie Xie. Xie Xie answered, right, you wouldn't know about this. They are about to hold an exhibition match. I heard they paid an enormous sum to invite some powerful people from Shrek Academy this time. Their opponents will be the champions of the 7-man team competition from the last tournament. The Alliance is doing this to show everyone the gap between our strengths. Though, I'm not sure if this is the best decision. Gu cut in from the side, why do you think so? Xie Xie simply shrugged. Isn't it obvious? Within a certain range, the gap in strength can be encouraging, but once the gap surpasses a certain level, it transforms into a chasm. It'll be an insurmountable reminder that only discourages people. A giggle escaped from Xu Xiaoyon's lips. You sure know how to explain things. You're just a child and you've already thought it out. Don't you think the Alliance's higher-ups would have come to the same conclusion? I bet they have some plan in place on how to handle this. I'm starving. Does anyone have anything to eat? A voice sounded out suddenly. Tang Wulin turned toward the source of the noise and saw a little fatty scurrying about the crowd, asking random strangers for food as they passed by. Huh? Another glutton has appeared. Xu Xiaoyan absent-mindedly said. Xie Xie coughed. Xiaoyan. You really have a way with words. Xu Xiaoyan realized her indiscretion. She hastily pursed her cherry-red lips and stuck out her tongue. Tang Wulin didn't mind the quip since there was no denying he was a glutton. He walked toward the little fatty. Here, eat this. Tang Wulin handed him some dried fish. Due to his high energy consumption, Tang Wulin always carried some snacks on him like dried fish, beef jerky and other portable foods loaded in protein and calories. Thank you, thank you. The little fatty's eyes lit up at the sight of the snack. He immediately began devouring it while nodding in satisfaction. Seeing the little fatty eating so happily, Tang Wulin couldn't help but feel a similar urge overtake his body. Unable to fight it, he started nibbling on some fish too. It's pretty tasty. There isn't any dried fish as good as this where I'm from. Thank you, big brother. The little fatty looked around Tang Wulin's age and had a way with flattery. You don't need to call me big brother. My name is Tang Wulin. You might even be a bit older than me. How old are you? Tang Wulin asked. The little fatty said, I just turned 10. How much older than me are you? There's no way you're younger, right? He stood half a head shorter than Tang Wulin. This video will end here.